reduce their water consumption over the last few days, it has been a dramatic decrease. I can tell you that on Wednesday, the consumption was about 650 million liters of water. By Thursday, when the call went out to conserve water, you dropped that number down to 520 million. By Friday, we were down to 484 million, and yesterday we were down to 440 million. So the efforts that you are taking are working. Please keep it up. We need to keep conserving water. As we have heard, it will be a few more days until we know just how long this is going to take in terms of a repair. So please keep doing everything that you're doing. And a thank you to the volunteers, businesses, and residents in Bowness who have been taking care of each other, particularly people in positions of vulnerability. Those folks are also very appreciative of the people who have donated bottled water as well as water containers. I know that both Councillors Sharp and Wong have been fully engaged on the ground with community, and councillors like Councillor Thaliwal and Councillor McLean have been in touch with nonprofits as well as corporations and have had pallets of water delivered, and there's many other councillors that have chipped in. So I really appreciate the teamwork that we're seeing at the council level is mirroring what we're seeing in the community as well. I'm now going to turn things over to Calgary's Emergency Management Agency's Chief, Sue Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. I'd like to begin with some bylaw enforcement numbers for you. Since Thursday, we've had 638 calls for water misuse. We have officers attending to 195 open calls today and continue to take an education-first approach. We will proceed to that written warning if necessary, but we are still finding Calgarians incredibly compliant and helpful. To date, bylaw officers have issued 116 written warnings for water misuse. This has been an increase in calls, and this is what we would expect as more Calgarians are becoming aware of the Stage 4 restrictions. We still have issued no violation tickets as of this moment. The fire ban related calls have not changed, and we've received 44 since Thursday. Our friends at 311 have answered 20,573 calls for service, and we are experiencing an average wait time of just under 20 minutes for those calls due to how busy the call volume is. The makeup of those calls, 622, as I mentioned, are water misuse. There's about 125 calls that are pressure related throughout the city. We have been very impressed how citizens have been saving water. Your efforts have been reflected in how our reservoirs have been able to plenish each day. I want to thank you again for your efforts. However, it is important to keep this up. We're just able to fill the reservoirs based on the reduced consumption that we are seeing from Calgarians. We also know that you've had some questions on the contingency plans that we have in the city, so I'd like to provide a little more information on what those look like for water usage. We continually monitor our reservoir levels, and a key metric for us is when that reservoir hits 1/3 of capacity, we would need to further limit water to make sure that we have water available for critical firefighting efforts and life safety. If this were to happen, we would activate mass water distribution plans in the communities, and we would also activate our emergency social services team that would be able to assist those folks that have medical conditions that require the use of water at home. I want to assure you that this is unlikely to happen if we keep doing the efforts that we're doing today and keep conserving water. At the moment, our reservoirs are sitting over 50%, and this is due to the exceptional team that's working in the city to continue to divert water all across the city and manage our system a little bit differently. Continued focus on equalizing the supply and demand is critical to ensuring sustainability across our water network and ensuring that we all have continued access. We are now entering into a different phase of this emergency. When the break first occurred, our focus was to get immediate information out to the community and out to impacted residents. Our communication messages will continue to evolve as we get refined and as the situation progresses. We will continue to update residents and Calgarians regularly as information becomes available. We need Calgarians to continue to do your part in reducing water consumption. And as we're entering into our 4th day of this, we recognize that some things do need to be done. So we have a few suggestions for you of how you can take action and how you can put that 25% into something that's meaningful in your home. So shorten your showers. Adopt a Navy shower approach, and this is where you turn off the water, you lather up, you turn the water back on, and quickly rinse off of all of the soap. Limit your showers to less than 3 minutes if you are able to do so, and consider using a timer while you're in the washroom to do that. We know this may be difficult for some of our elderly citizens and those that have different challenges, but anything you can do to shorten that shower and reduce your water use is appreciated. Turn off your taps. When you're brushing your teeth, shaving, or washing your hands, use a cup to rinse your mouth and your hands if you can, and just turn it off every time you're not actively needing that water. You can also reuse some water. When you are running water in the shower, catch that in a bucket and use it to flush your toilets. Only run full loads on your dishwasher and your washing machine. Make sure you keep gathering all of that laundry until the point that you've got a very full load. If you are wanting to use your dishwasher, very same. Fill your dishwasher really full. Don't run any half loads, and avoid rinsing your plates or any of your cutlery before you put it into the dishwasher. Scrape it off into your compost bin, and you'll save some water doing that. Also, it's a great reminder and a great time to look around your house and find those leaks that are in your house, shower heads, faucets, toilets, and repair those promptly. Even a small drip from any one of those sources can add up and contribute a significant amount of water. We have heard that some Calgarians are filling buckets of water out of the river, and they're using this to water their plants and water their gardens. We don't advise that people do this due to safety reasons of being on the riverbanks and accessing the river. There is rain in the forecast over the next couple of days and again this weekend. So we're encouraging Calgarians to collect rainwater where possible and let Mother Nature help us with that outdoor water demand. We are also continuing to get inquiries about commercial car washes. We continue to ask Calgarians to refrain from washing your vehicles at this time unless there's a health and safety reason to do so. Citizens are not alone in this. The City of Calgary has been making substantial efforts to reduce the water that we're using in our operations as well. Some of the ways that we're conserving water: with our city-owned buildings and vehicles, all of our facilities have stopped watering plants and flowers. We've stopped irrigating grass that is maintained for city buildings. Our decorative water features, fountains, they've all been turned off to conserve water. The wash bays for city vehicles are closed. The City of Calgary has also issued that those who are able to work remotely for City of Calgary employees for the coming week are encouraged to do so. All city-operated aquatic facilities remain closed with the water shut off, so no new water enters into the pools. Our leisure centers have also had their water shut off because of the wave pools and water parks. The showers are closed in any facilities that are open. We have closed our art centers to also reduce water. This is used in things such as classes for pottery, painting, and cleanup, so we have closed those pieces. We've closed arenas to reduce water use that's in ice production and maintenance. Some of the arenas do have dry pads in them, so you will see those. They are still open, but the shower facilities in those arenas have been closed. And where possible, we've taken those ice surfaces and those dry pads and used them for ball hockey to ensure that the children are still able to get a bit of exercise. We've turned off all irrigation systems that use potable water, and where we need to protect new turf, we are using non-potable water. Athletic parks and the soccer center are open with the exception of Shoaldice Athletic Park, and we've also closed the showers at all of those facilities. Calgarians may have seen city crews and contractors using non-potable water to protect 500 newly planted trees, as well as resuming the use of non-potable water to irrigate our 5 city golf course greens, allowing them to stay open for Calgarians to enjoy. The use of this non-potable water does not impact the water supply for Calgarians. Also, to avoid additional use of water to wash the streets, our street sweeping program has been postponed. City construction and operational teams have also stopped implementing the dust suppression where it is safe to do so. We've also heard a lot of stories from businesses across the city, both big and small, that are all coming together to take steps to save water. Everything from laundromats asking their customers to make sure that they've got essential loads, to ENMAX, our large utility partner, who has lowered their water usage at the Calgary Energy Centre by 50%. The ENMAX team has been working closely with the water services team to ensure electrical safety is maintained at the repair site. We are extremely grateful for the collective efforts of Calgarians, of our regional partners, and our local businesses to reduce water consumption and protect the water we are able to produce at this time. You heard today that your effort is making a difference. You can find more information on what additional actions you could take at calgary.ca, and it's imperative that we continue our efforts until the repair is complete. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your cooperation, and every drop counts. I will now pass to Director Mackay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to provide an update on the work that's undergoing right now. I want to say first off that we have a strong team that's absolutely committed to repairing this feeder main break as soon as we can so that we can once again ensure the reliable and secure supply of water that all Calgarians and our regional customers depend on. We're working around the clock to make that happen. So with that, if you can see up here, I want to walk you through some of the work that we've completed to date, where we're at, and what we anticipate to be some next steps. When the initial water leak was found on site on Wednesday night, reported to us, crews came out to locate that leak. As you can imagine, this was a bit simpler with the amount of water compared to a usual leak that's much smaller. And in this case, that next task for us, the most important, was to turn the water off and stop the water from flowing, which was not necessarily an easy task with such a large pipe that we had there. At that point, underground gas, sewer, water, and as you heard, working with our electrical partners, telecom, other utilities, it's very important for safety that we're locating those and marking those. Water was removed from the site, and as you may have seen from some of the photos that we've had on social media, you can see that there was a lot of water there, and it was a big effort to get that water off the site and clear that. That takes us to the weekend. We've been simultaneously right now getting ready for the repair of the pipe while assessing the condition and completing many technical tests to understand the extent of the repairs that we need. This is a very critical stage for us, and it's going to take some time to complete. Yesterday, crews started cutting the pipe so the damaged portion can be removed. We completed a preliminary assessment of the extent of the damage, and we will continue that assessment once the damaged pipe is fully removed. I'd like to share with you today that we cut the first slice of the pipe. This is the first step, and you can see the image here behind me. The first step to remove the compromised sections, and which we aim to complete by the end of today. The picture here is that first cut, and we need that in order to get to the other parts of the pipe. Once the compromised sections of the pipe are removed, then we will be sending a mini robot. It's like a robot. Yes, it's a little device, certainly with sensors, that does a condition assessment. We're going to send that 100 meters each direction so that we can have a look inside that pipe to see what's going on. Once that assessment is done, it will tell us if we need some additional parts, pieces, give us much more information. Next step for us is to put the new piece into place. Based on our current assessment and information, we have all the parts to complete this repair, and that we've outlined in that plan. But we want to make sure we know what we're dealing with at all parts along the way. So we're going to make sure that that assessment is complete and confirm that we have all we need before the crews can start the section and completing the welding, which would be the next step. Some repair work can continue to proceed concurrently with that conditional assessment. So we're doing two things, and you can see both of those steps as we move forward. Once the install is finished, the pipe will be filled with chlorinated water to disinfect it. We then pressurize the feeder main, the big pipe full of water. We add pressure to it. We're going to test the repair, and then we will have to flush that pipe through hydrants on the streets for safety purposes. Due to the size of the pipe we're repairing, this step alone is a large portion of the plan, and it will take a few days to complete. There are several steps in our plan that we currently have that we are continuing to refine with the information that the teams are bringing to the table. We're doing that with our colleagues at Alberta Health Services, and we work lockstep together to ensure public safety and a solid plan, refining that plan as we move forward. At this time, it remains too early to say when the boil water advisory or the restrictions will need to be lifted. What I want to say, and I also want to thank, so many of you have reached out and you're concerned about the staff down on the site. It's really appreciated. What I would ask though, so folks down there, our good team that's working tirelessly can focus on the work that I've just described to you. Really appreciate that. Please let them do their work. We're passing on your kudos and compliments, and we're going to do that more regularly. We were just talking about that before we came out here so that we can share your appreciation for them. So please keep that coming in. It's really helpful. I want to assure you that our crews, engineers, and teams are working around the clock to get this work done. One thing I want to address, and many of you have reached out and asked, hey, I live in the south. I actually live in the south, and I've got some neighbors who were chatting with me. Why should I save water down here when isn't the main break up in Bowness? And so I wanted to illustrate a little bit what that looks like so we can explain that. It's truly about our ability to get water to all communities at this time that's been severely compromised due to the pipe break. So what we've got here on the image that I'd like to show you, it's very simplified, but really essentially there are 2 water treatment plants in the city of Calgary. One in the north, the star on the left-hand side before the water make, that's our largest plant. Bears Paw Water Treatment Plant typically would provide 60% of water to the entire city. And at the bottom is our little engine, the smaller plant, Glenmore Water Treatment Plant, that typically provides water to the south. And so, and you can see that there are some connections to some of our regional customers shown here on the left. Typically how that water would move around. The system in the north and the south have connections in a variety of places. One of the biggest places that those are connected is what we no longer have that comes from Bears Paw Water Treatment Plant. So when you look to after the main break, you can see that Glenmore Treatment Plant in the south is actually pumping water to the east and the north of the city. It is truly that treatment plant, and the pipes coming out of it are the little engine that could. The entire pipe network is connected, and the more water usage that the entire pipe network is connected, and the more water usage in one area means less in another part of the city. We are pumping at capacity and very carefully taking care of that plant, and we'll continue to monitor reservoir levels, but that plant in the south, you can see, is pumping to a much larger part of the city. You can see up to the north as well as the south. So every drop counts. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about what we're dealing with right now. With that, again, as we've understood today, we're reaching the numbers that we're after. Really appreciate everyone's work. Our target is to keep our demand no more than 480 million litres, and you've surpassed that target. You can see where we're getting that water here in the new system. So thank you. With that, I will turn it over to Mayor Gondek to wrap us up.
Thanks, Director Mackay. So in summary, the message is keep up the great work at water conservation. Everything you are doing to conserve water is working, and we're going to need you to keep doing that for the next little while. So thank you for all of those efforts. And probably a good idea to make sure you plan your commute for tomorrow to avoid any of the road closures that are still in place while we're doing this repair work. And with the crews that are on site, we know you value them greatly. We know you want to show your appreciation, but they need some space to do their work quickly and safely. So if you could refrain from visiting them, even though I know you want to, if you can call 311 or use the app to send in your compliments, we'll make sure that they get the messages. But right now, they just need a clean place to do their work, free of people being there. And I said this the other day, but I will say it again. Please support Bowness. Please support the businesses there, whether you're going to do a little bit of shopping or you want to stop in for a coffee or a pint somewhere. Make Bowness your destination. They need to feel the love. They need your support. And I know that this has been incredibly disruptive in terms of a water situation for everyone in the city, and we greatly appreciate the patience that you've shown and so much appreciate the measures that you've taken. Thank you, everybody. I'll turn it over to Sherry to take questions from media.
Thanks, guys. Any questions? What would if that ever happened, would it mean that water would be available just a couple hours a day or no water at all?
That's part of the contingency plan that we've been building. So as our reservoirs hit that 1/3 level, we do need to ensure that we have enough water available for critical firefighting efforts. So a citizen might turn on a tap and they might see a very low flow, or they might turn on a tap and see no water at all, depending on where they are on that system, which is why it's so critical for folks to help us stay above that 50% on the reservoirs.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Timeline, so I heard, it's too early to say when the restriction will ease. We've heard 5 to 7 days, a couple of different times and a couple of different days, so I know it's hard with work, but is there an idea that end of this week, into the week after?
Thank you. The question is, we've heard 5 to 7 days. What does that mean? And what does that mean from today? We heard that yesterday. Absolutely appreciate, and myself as well would really like to know when we're moving forward. Yesterday was when we said at a minimum 5 to 7 days. And you can see the steps today, how they've evolved and what we've completed. I hope to, in the coming days, continue to share more of the steps upcoming. And as we refine working with our colleagues at Alberta Health Services, we'll have a refinement of that plan that we can share with you. And of course, wherever we've got some certainty, we would share that. But those numbers are still rough and they're minimum numbers. And yeah, really appreciate everyone's patience with that. Absolutely. Thank you. Again, if folks stay away from the site, it allows folks to concentrate and get the work moving forward. Appreciate that.
Will the city be able to release that picture of that thing?
You got it. Any other questions? Jillian? Putting you on the spot? All right, that's right. To close?
Yep.
We'll just repeat the messaging that we continue to need your efforts as individuals and businesses to conserve water. You've been doing a great job. Keep it up. Support Bowness. Support each other. Look out for one another. And if anyone needs a hand, please be willing to offer it. We will provide more information tomorrow at 2 p.m. And I will provide a brief update tomorrow morning at 8:30 as well. Thanks, everybody.